Bonjour from the 11th arrondissement still, and I'm leading with my forehead today. I'm not sure why my hair looks this crazy. It has been a long day. We traveled back from Lille today, which was a great weekend, and maybe it's the angle of this camera, but woo, this is a look, right? But I didn't want to not do a video because we've been busy for the last couple weeks. And so I've already washed my face, and obviously I already took my hair down, and I already put my glasses on. So this is what we're getting. First of all, I did get this sweater at the Monoprix, which is like Paris Target. And it's fabulous. It's made out of alpaca. And it was like $69, which is a very good deal for alpaca. And it is the warmest sweater I've ever owned. I'll probably never wear it again in Tampa, because it will never be cold enough to wear it. I did make an appointment to get my hair done, which I'm super excited about, in the 7th arrondissement in 2 weeks, because that will be the area that we're going to live in, because we have found an apartment. We put and that's why we've been so busy. We found it the very first day, but it just moves a little slower around here. So between making, getting the offers in, and then them accepting us, and then us getting the lease signed, which takes forever because I have to translate everything to make sure it says what it's supposed to say, and then read it all, and then respond back. And it's a lot of process with the different language barriers. But if all goes well, the only thing left to do is the relo person we're working with is helping us change over the electricity into our name and the gas into our name. And if that all goes good, then we will take possession on Wednesday. And we hope it does, because we have a driver coming by to pick up all of our bags. And we have put our notice in here at the apartment hotel, which they have been amazing in working with us. So we only had to give a 7-day notice, which is what we did. And so we're going to be out on Thursday officially. But I'm hoping we actually do get everything moved over on Wednesday. So we'll see. Tomorrow's Armistice Day, Veterans Day in the United States, but Armistice Day here in France, where they're celebrating the World War I, or not celebrating, but respecting and having some remembrance for the World War I military. So that has been an interesting weekend. We were in, as I mentioned, Lille. We were up there to meet with a gentleman that Christopher had met through Tobias. Tobias is Tobias 2023?
Yes.
Okay, so Tobias is the 2023 Buccaneers Fan of the Year International. Christopher is the 2023 Buccaneers Fan of the Year National. So, so they created this little friendship online, and then Tobias said, well, hey, if you're coming to France, the #1 fan in all of Europe, and certainly in France, is this gentleman by the name of Trickster. That's kind of like his handle, what he goes by. We actually found out that he got that name from a book that he loved years ago, and he just liked the name, and it carried on. He is actually a retired police inspector, and so he liked that name Trickster too, because it sort of embodies what he did. They actually used to call him the White Wolf, actually, I think is what his nickname was. He was very good at what he did. So anyhow, we did not know that about him, though. We just knew that his name was Trickster and that his real name was Franck, but we had no idea what his last name was. We really only knew that he lived on the outskirts of Lille. We did not know what city he lived in, and we were suddenly going to Lille to meet him, and we were going to be watching a football game with him and his wife. What's his wife's name? Sandrine. Isn't that a pretty name? Sandrine. And his wife, Sandrine. He knows a little bit of English. Sandrine doesn't know much. She probably knows as much English as Christopher knows French. So it was going to be interesting, right? And then they wanted us to stay at their house, which made me nervous. I don't really like to stay at other people's houses. And these people are complete strangers, and we don't speak their language. And we're in a foreign country, and we don't even know their last names, and they could be axe murderers. Now, we did find out later on, that he's a retired major of the police department. So chances of him murdering us were pretty slim. But we were a little nervous in the beginning. And I did, when I say we, I mean me, not Christopher. He did reach out to Tobias to make me feel better, to find out for sure, have you met this guy? Is he legitimate? Blah, blah, blah. And yes, he spoke up for him. So I felt like, we were probably pretty safe to go. When we got to Lille, he had actually, we stayed in a hotel the first night. He had left a nice box of chocolates because my birthday was last week, wishing me a happy birthday and a little note saying that Trickster welcomed us to Lille. So that was really special too. I figured he probably wasn't going to butter us up if he was going to murder us, so that made me feel a little better. But we had a wonderful time there. We had a traditional northern French, almost southern Belgium. I mean, they're very close, like a 6-minute drive to Belgium. Dinner at a place called Chez Brigitte, and I should say actually it was lunch. And it was all the traditional foods. Now, I just had a sausage with potatoes, mashed potatoes, and cooked red cabbage. And Christopher had a flank steak with, did your flank steak come with anything? No. Oh, just a flank steak. And he seemed to enjoy it. And mine was very, very good. I enjoyed it as well. And then we really kind of skipped dinner. I was exhausted. We took a 2-hour nap. I finally feel like this weekend I probably slept better than I've slept since we got here. So that was a real bonus. Partially because we just got here. There was the time change. Europe had already changed time. So when we got here, it was already dark at 5 o'clock. And then a week later, the U.S. changed time frames. Or time changes. And then, we were excited, and then we were looking for houses, and then I was sort of anxious, is it going to happen? And so all those things together, I just haven't slept very well. So I did take a little nap, which was great, and then we got up and we walked around Lille. You'll see on Christopher's Instagram, either in the next day or two or on Wednesday at least, kind of what we saw in sorts. I posted a little thing about us taking the train trip up there, but he'll show it kind of at night, which it was beautiful. I mean, the city center is very... not a historian in architecture and sorts, but it felt very northern to me. I mean, they considered themselves the Nords, It felt very northern to me. A lot of the architecture, like in the steeples of the church, had like bumps on the side. It felt very Viking-ish, and then the food was very heavy, and the drink is very heavy. Beer is actually their drink of choice up there. Not some other drink of choice, so I did not have any beer. But we did have some cider, cider, which is a little more north and west from the Normandy region. But they did share that with us, which was awesome. It was very good. I would actually drink that if it were something that I was going to drink versus beer. I would not drink beer. But we had a really good time for dinner, and then we walked around, live street performers, music, really, really festive. There was a lot going on. They're getting, decorating for Christmas, and so it was a really good time to be there. We enjoyed ourselves thoroughly. We stayed in a really cool hotel, funky, kind of like an A-loft, but more of an international flair, called OKKO. I guess they're throughout Europe. Fairly reasonable price. 2 nights for $250 total. With taxes, maybe $270. And we did have 2 nights because they required a 2-night reservation in all of Lille, so it wasn't really an option. And I thought it'd be best if we have a backup place to stay in case we did try to get, murdered. We'd have a place to run away to. So, so it was fine to have that place. And I mean, it was obviously affordable. Many hotels are $300 and $400 a night these days, so $250 for 2 nights wasn't a big deal. It also allowed us the next day not to have to rush out because Trickster Frank did not pick us up until like 3:30, so it was nice not to have to hurry out of the hotel. But we stayed there. We had a great night's sleep. We got up. We went to a what kind of church was that? Episcopalian? Yes. An Episcopalian church, an Anglican church that has been in. It's been in there like what, since the early 1900s, late 1800s. Yeah, since the late 1800s. It's actually owned and operated by the Church of England, right? It's owned and operated by the Church of England. And they have an agreement with France that as long as it is owned and operated by the Anglican Church, that they actually have a permanent land lease. And so they do not pay any monies to France to have that church there, as long as it stays, the rules are it has to stay an English Anglican church. And so it was very interesting. I've not actually been to that type of a church before, so it was nice to kind of see how Christopher was raised and the type of communion that he was used to, and some of the prayers from the prayer book, and the Book of Modern Prayer, or whatever it's called, and sort of the pomp and circumstance. It sort of felt a little like Catholic to me, for lack of a better terminology. I'm sure if there are any people watching me that are Episcopalian, they're going to have a totally different opinion on that. That's sort of how it felt for me as an outsider. We enjoyed it. There wasn't really, I didn't get an idea really on how the message normally would be, because it really was used as an opportunity to honor the British soldiers that were there for Armistice Day, and just sort of the British military in general, I should say. Obviously, there wasn't anyone there still alive from back in the day, but it was in honor of them. They had a moment of, silence. They had a wreath laid. Interestingly enough, the sign for Armistice, and for actually even beyond that, World War II as well, the English used the poppy as kind of their symbol of remembrance, which is really beautiful. I love poppies. France uses a blue flower of some sort, so to do theirs. We'll get to see a little bit of that tomorrow with Armistice Day. We do plan on going to the Champs-Élysées, where the president will be laying a wreath at the base of the Arc de Triomphe in honor of the fallen soldiers. So it's sort of a reignition of the flames there each year. I don't know what's going to happen. I can't really find much on it. I don't think there's going to be a lot of pomp and circumstance. I think there's just a lot of roads closed down, because there's going to be, caravans of important people getting moved from the Invalides, which is the military area of the 7th, over to the actual Arc de Triomphe. And so there's a lot of roads blocked. There's going to be a lot of places that you can't park. There's a lot of notices of that, but no one talks about like a major parade or anything of that nature. So we are going to go over there though, just to kind of see what it's like. It's only about a 20-minute walk from our new apartment, which is a 7-minute walk to the Eiffel Tower, and it's a 20-minute walk, 22-minute walk to the Arc de Triomphe. So we are going to go ahead and just go down there to sort of home base ourselves there, and then walk to the Arc de Triomphe to see what it's all about, and to remind me how much I really love that area, and that I won't be panicking that we've committed to this 1-year lease. We need to see it again because we've been out of town. So we are about a 30-minute metro ride from there. We're east in the city, and we're getting a place on the west side of the city. So basically we have to cross the whole city. Normally it would take about 20 minutes on Metro Line 9, but Metro Line 9 seems to be down tonight. I don't know if it's going to be down tomorrow. There's a little bit of construction on that. If it's down tomorrow, we'll have to take 8, and 8 will make it more like 35 minutes to get from one to the other. So with that said, back to Lille. Like I said, Christopher will have all the details on it, if you want to see pictures and things like that. But we were picked up by them. We had gotten flowers for Sandrine, and they were beautiful. I mean, French flowers are really spectacular. They had eucalyptus in there, country roses, regular long stem roses, no filler flowers, like just a lot of beautiful flowers. Or tulips. Actually, I haven't seen that a lot before. A whole bunch of tulips. Beautiful bouquet, like nice sized, and it was $30 or 30 euros, so like $35 American dollars. It was spectacular. I mean, we pay $30 for flowers at Publix all the time, and they don't look anything like that. So they were really pretty. One of the odd things though we've noticed around here is when people buy flowers, they don't walk around the street like this. They put them down, like upside down next to their body. I'm not really sure what that's about. Like, they don't have them up like a bouquet. They're upside down. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll figure it out. Maybe it's because they don't want to bump into people. I'm not really sure. I mean, I'll Google it, see if there's an answer there, but it may just be a way people do it around here. But things have been going great, and we have been really excited about getting a physical place to live, and that's going to keep us busy. So tomorrow we're going to do the Champs-Élysées and do the whole Armistice remembrance, and then we'll come back and we'll pack, because we have to pack our whole apartment hotel up, which isn't going to be that difficult, but it will take some time, so that we're ready, because we take possession at 11 o'clock on Wednesday. So our plan is we will take one large suitcase full of like a lot of coats and things over to the apartment with us when we go to take possession. We will unpack that one, and we'll take possession, and then we will take the metro back, and we will then pack that suitcase with anything we weren't able to get in the suitcases we currently have packed already. And then a driver will pick us up at 3. And so then he'll deliver us there around 3:30, 3:40. And we'll then start to unpack, and we'll have like, our whole like little thing going on over there, which is really, really exciting. It is furnished. So we sort of have to figure out like what there even is there, what we're missing, what we need to order, what we need to buy. I did get an Amazon French Amazon Prime account so that we can order from there also. They do not use unit numbers over here, so they just go by your name. So somehow I'm gonna have to figure out how I use Amazon for that. Like, how do you tell them where your door is? And then they have to get buzzed in. So I don't know if I can do that from a distance with my app and they can go up and leave it outside my apartment. Or some people said, oh, you just have them leave it with the cafe that's downstairs, you know, closest to your apartment. I'm like, that's weird too. So I'm not really sure. I'll have to keep you informed on what that's all about. It's very, very different than in the United States. But that's the fun thing, right? Learning all about new things. So yeah, things have been great. We're having a great time. It's not been too cold. Even days when it's like 47 in the mornings, it doesn't feel like that. I mean, it's been great. We're dressed appropriately. And we're having a good time. So it's like we hit the road and we're like, oh, this isn't bad at all. I really thought, you know, Christopher was convinced we were going to freeze to death, and I was a little concerned we might be too. But we're dressed appropriately. We have lots of clothes and sorts on, so we're good to go. So thanks so much. It was great catching up with you, and I will talk to you in a couple days when we have our apartment, and I'll show you around. Bye.